Why Alan Rickman was one of the best humans ever. Alan Rickman, one of the world's most energetic performers, died on January 14th, 2016, after a brief fight with pancreatic cancer. We're looking back at the star's facts about the famous actor in today's video. Here's why Alan Rickman was one of the best humans ever. Even though he battled Harry Potter, youngsters still adore him. Alan Rickman could be easily identified by crowds of children he used to bring to the canteen when the Harry Potter family had visitors to the film set. There were 300 children on set at times, so you have to grasp what you're in the middle of. The actor stated to Empire. There was a particular reason why Alan was so fond of kids. As it turned out, Alan gave up his dream of having children because of his wife. In an interview, Rickman talked about their decision as a couple. He said, "You should remember I'm not only one involved. There was another person. I would have loved a family. Sometimes I think in the ideal world, 3 children aged 12, 10, and 8 would have dropped on us and we would have been great parents for that family." That, my friend, was just pure love. Alan Rickman would have been a great father. Unfortunately, this particular dream didn't pan out for him. Daniel Radcliffe wrote in his heartbreaking tribute for Rickman, "He's one of the first of the adults on Potter to treat me like a peer rather than a child. Working with him at such a formative age was incredibly important, and I will carry the lessons he taught me for the rest of my life and career." Big fan of pranks. What if I told you that the head of the Slytherin house was a prankster? What if I told you that the Potter dream had so many amusing circumstances on set that you would think it was a serious Hollywood production? Well, you probably should, and here's one of the reasons why. Remember the scene in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban where the students are sleeping on the Great Hall floor while Dumbledore and Snape are watching Harry? Well, Rickman and Gambon were trying to stay in character while a gloomy stillness was broken by a fart. Radcliffe had requested to be seated next to the girl he had a crush on at the time, not realizing it could be the perfect time for him to be a prank victim. Professor Dumbledore obviously enjoyed having fun too, so Rickman placed a remote-controlled fart machine nearby, which he kindly gave to Michael Gambon. It all finished with the entire cast and crew erupting in laughter just after a crucial fart. Aspect of Rickman's brilliance. His method acting could freak out anyone. Alan Rickman described his role as Snape as a punctuation mark in his life, telling the Los Angeles Times in 2011 that I would do other things but constantly come back to that, and that I was always aware of my place in the plot, even when people around me were not. Even Chris Columbus, the director of Philosopher's Stone and the Chamber of Secrets, admitted at being intimidated when he first met the ex-star of Die Hard. But after the meeting, he was pleasantly surprised to discover what a nice person Alan was. When he stepped out of character, it only took a few seconds after putting on his dark cloak and vola. He was walking and talking like Snape, which could frighten anyone. Doodle by Ron Weasley. Despite his recognizable voice and Snape grown wig in real life, Rickman was the coolest guy, a generous spirit and a mentor to his younger co-star, Rupert Grint, who played Ron Weasley, dubbed Alan as a terrific gentleman, and the darling redhead had the sweetest bond with him. As an 11-year-old boy, he found the Defense Against the Dark Arts professor terrifying, and was once spotted drawing a caricature of him, which is a very common thing for a youngster to do, except that he did it a multi-award winning actor. As you can see, Alan played countless villains as a senior actor, so he didn't have to be a good guy off screen, but he chose to be a generous friend, a leader, an activist, a mentor, and a compassionate friend to all the kids in Harry Potter cast. Realize a terminally ill boy's dream. Do you know the real world master of potions didn't need any extras to make dreams come true? Listen to this beautiful story of Polly Dupree Pressman, producer of the first 3 Harry Potter films and organizer of the set visit for terminally ill children. She told several stories about the actors being so sweet with these kids, concluding at the Huffington Post that the purity of Harry Potter, but one of these visits felt like experiencing magic outside of Hogwarts. This boy's name was Jay. He was diagnosed with stage 4 neuroblastoma and couldn't wait to see his favorite actors. Alan Rickman met him when they had a heartwarming conversation. Turned out that Jay was very knowledgeable about Alan's filmography, even beyond Harry Potter, and at the end, Jay smiled sly and said that he'd always wanted to be in film, and so the magic began as Jay became an extra on set of The Prisoner of Azkaban during Professor Lupin's Bogart class. Alan looked at me and went in Snape mode, in costume, and said, "Why isn't this child in the film?" Everyone laughed, and Alan took him by the hand and pushed him into the crowd of kids as they were panning across the back of him. is actually in the shot while the scene wasn't used in the edit, and it made Jay so happy. By the way, the magic didn't end there. Paula Dupree founded There With Care, an organization that assists families with children who are suffering from catastrophic illnesses. The secret to his poker face is the giant hall scenes. Have you ever wondered how Alan Rickman kept his stone cold face while sitting firmly at the head of the table during the great hall scenes? And how he maintained the aura of dark mysteriousness he had? Well, he was listening to his iPod, and I began to wonder what Alan Rickman had Professor Snape listen to on his iPod. I don't know. I never asked him, and I wish I had. I'd love to have known what recalls Professor Fitwick and Warwick Davis. The long cape was useful to hide the device he received as a gift from some award show young co-stars. Oliver Phelps and Yvonne Lynch recall him casually asked them to explain how it worked. It was very funny watching him how he could go from 1 minute as Snape to the next minute as Alan Rickman. Very personable, recalls Oliver. Helping design his costume. It's impossible to envision Severus Snape without his billowing cloak. According to the costume director Gianni Tammi, Alan Rickman was involved in designing the idea, understanding that there needed to be a lot of buttons and the sleeves needed to be properly tight. Remember that scene with Malfoy, Snape, Harry Potter, and the half-blooded prince? With Rickman in costume crawling on the floor and leaning down to Malfoy's lifeless figure, Tammi says he performed it 20 times, and each time the cape was laid perfectly on the floor. To do that, I believe you need to be a Shakespearean actor. When Alan returned from vacation with a few additional kilograms, the lovely costume design team had to let free the enigmatic Snape cape. They made it bigger without telling him. Anyway, you'll be hard-pressed to find another costume in the Harry Potter films that has remained largely unchanged. Snape's cape wasn't the only disguising figure of his. He also required black contact lenses to complete the transformation. Every year for 7 weeks, I would put black contact lenses. Reuniting with old friends and a part of myself, Rickman once said, "Do you know how it came to light?" The director of The Goblet of Fire, Mike Newell, once complimented Rickman on his destructive color of his eyes, to which he responded by popping out one of his lenses. What a shock these black contacts gave Rickman as Snape, who could eat out hearts with a spoon. Knew the secret behind the always. You probably wouldn't be surprised to learn that Rickman wasn't the first choice for the head of Slytherin. J.K. Rowling herself handpicked him after Tim Roth declined to play Professor Snape in favor of acting in Planet of the Apes. However, it was Rickman who Rowling had in mind for the role of Professor Snape, which we are overjoyed about. Only Alan knew Severus Snape's secret, since Rowling disclosed it to him the day before Harry Potter filming began. She didn't tell me anything about the ending of the story, so I had to buy the books like everyone else, Rickman remarked in the RTE interview. It was also amusing, because there was times when a director would tell Alan what to do the next scene, and he'd say like, "No, I can't do that. I know what's going to happen, and you don't." Producer David Hyman once stated that he didn't spread the truth around even after the Wizard saga was over. After Alan Rickman's death on January 14, 2016, his admirers petitioned the rally to share the advice she once gave him before filming. The writer responded, "I taught Alan what lies beneath the word always. The person always supposed to have the least amount of affection turns out to have the most." Do you still miss Alan Rickman? Which of these memories is your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. See you in the next video.